Hi there. Have you ever given a two-digit addition math problem to your students and all they do is they stack the numbers and then they hope it works? Or sometimes you see them adding the tens with the ones or the ones with the tens, and they really just don't know why the math works? Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I help primary math teachers help their students stay on task in learning. The strategy we're talking about today is the break apart strategy. It's great for first and second graders. It helps them with deeper understanding. When you break apart the numbers, they break them apart into tens and ones, and then they put them back together again. This strategy really sets up the foundation for regrouping. So it's important to practice now with smaller numbers that do not require regrouping so they really understand the process. Let's use this problem as an example to show you how to add using break apart. So we're going to start with 34 plus 52. The first step is you want to break apart each number into its place value. So 34 becomes 30 and 4, and then 52 becomes 50 and then 2. Be careful because some students want to write 3 and 4 and 5 and 2, and we'll talk about later why that might mess up their thinking. Once you have it broken apart in place values, then you can add the tens. So 30 plus 50 is 80. And then 4 plus 2 is 6. Then you're going to add those parts together. 80 plus 6 equals 86. And then I always like to have the students go back up to the original problem and write in 86 as their answer, because then it helps show that they're finished with all of their steps. I have a few tips to make this strategy a little bit easier for you and your students. The first one is to color code the tens and the ones. So let's look at this example. In 34 and 52, before we even do all of this work, I would have the students underline the tens. Let's use red for tens. The 3 is tens, so it's red, and then the 5 is also tens, so I underline that red. And then I can use another color to show the ones. Let's use blue for the ones, 4 and 2 get blue. And then as you're going, you can show them, well, look, I combined the tens here, so 30 and 50 is tens, and then keep going, the 80 is the tens, and then switch back to the ones. This shows the ones, the 4 and the 2, and then the 6. And then that helps them see the different place value as they go. You can show it to them like this as you go. You could change colors as you go, whatever works best for you. Making a poster of the steps and displaying that in your room, a poster or anchor chart, would work well. I want to talk briefly about one misconception that your students might have and it would throw them off. And I touched on it earlier. It is making sure you're writing 30 for the place value and not just 3. So you want your students to think of it as 3 tens and not just a 3. 3 tens equals 30. 3 equals 3. So there's the difference in the place value. So keep reminding them. Using that talk over and over again really helps them understand. Let's look at an example of a worksheet that I have available in my TPT store. So you can see the problem 24 plus 54. I've broken it apart into 20 and 4 plus 50 and 4. Then underneath the box is where you can show the work. And it really doesn't matter if they start with the ones or the tens place. In this problem, I modeled it with the ones place. So 4 plus 4 equals 8, and then 20 plus 50 equals 70. Then you add them together, 70 plus 8 equals 78, and then writing the final answer here in the circle. So you can see the rest of the worksheet has different practice problems with the boxes already there, the circles already there to help your students remember. Break apart the tens, break apart the ones, write your final answer. It really helps get them in the habit of breaking apart into place value. And if you're interested in a copy of this worksheet, you can find it in my TPT store. The link will be in the description below. The break apart for addition strategy uses place value as a guide when your students are trying to solve two-digit addition problems. This is very helpful for students who are visual learners and need to see the tens and ones written down on their paper. You can practice this in whole group, small group. You can even leave the practice for a substitute, send it home for homework. Because there's an example on it, almost anybody can follow along with it. If you're ready to grab a copy of this for your students to use, you can find it in the description below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.